Hi, everyone. Welcome to Horticulture Corner Healing Herbs. My name is Denise Reddy, and I'm the Executive Director of the Garden Club of Jacksonville. I'm here with Jill Zarletta, our Marketing and Membership Manager. I'd like to thank the Jesse Paul DuPont Fund for making programs like this possible. I'd also like to thank our Horticulture Corner chairs, Mika Hardison and Susan Painter. And I'd like to tell you about a couple of upcoming Horticulture Corner programs. We have Orchid SOS coming up on August 2nd with Lorraine Conover of the Jacksonville Orchid Society. If you're like me, everyone needs a little help with your orchid. And then on September 13th, we have Horticulture Corner Showtime. The Garden Club of Jacksonville is the organizer of the Jacksonville Fair Horticulture Show. And we're very excited to be doing that and really want you and everyone you know to enter the program, the horticulture show. So please come and find out how you can put in your best foot forward, put your best plant forward with Master Gardener Nancy Traver on September 13th. If you're not a member of the Garden Club of Jacksonville, please see me or Jill or any of the members here who would love to tell you why it's a great idea to become a member of the Garden Club of Jacksonville. And now I'd like to introduce Katherine Bryan. Katherine Bryan created Clinical Traditions Herb Company, a medicinal herb farm and apothecary to supply Jacksonville with the best organic herbal supplements. She has been in the professional pursuit of a naturally optimizing human biology since 2009. The keystone of her studies was a functional herbalism program at the Eclectic School of Herbal Medicine. The organic herbs grown by Katherine are crafted into herbal teas and tinctures to encourage a richer experience of life and ease. If you have questions for Katherine, please put them in the chat if you're on Zoom or use the microphone in the ballroom. And now I'd like to turn it over to Katherine Bryan. Take two.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for everyone's patience. I hope we're still awake. Yeah, there's so much to talk about herbalism, and I think herbalism, I want to gauge what you guys know about it so far. So if you're comfortable to raise your hand, have you met an herbalist before? Raise your hand. That's a yes. A few people. Okay. Have you added more culinary herbal spices or anything to your food for health benefits or just flavor? Or okay, so yeah, we got some kitchen herbalists. That's great. That's a great place to start. And so I'm guessing then everyone here is on a most of people are on a starting level and really interested in how do I learn about herbs? Maybe nod your head. Okay, cool. Thank you all for coming. So yeah, it's herbalism so much. It's truly a multidisciplinary field. I have a bunch of like sciences and arts up here. Herbalism or herbology is the study and the practice. Practice means you're using herbs, you're taking them, you're not just reading about them. And you're applying their therapeutic properties to increase your vitality. So this is just quality of life. It's hard to measure. It's how you feel. You can practice herbalism by being an ecologist, by being an anthropologist. That's what ethnobotany is. It's looking at how people have interacted with plants for a long time. Since humans have been documenting words, have been writing, there have been signs of humans using herbs for medicine. So it's time tested, it's approved, people know which herbs make you sick and what doses is the medicine, what dose is the toxic. They work in a synergistic effect, so I use the entire plant. A good example is they isolated a chemical constituent, a phytonutrient from willow bark to make aspirin, and that's one part of the willow bark. There's other chemical constituents in the willow bark that prevent you from taking too much of it, to making it more safe. So that's the herbs. Herbs usually are safe. There's a handful that you should know, especially if you're picking them out of your yard.
I'll try to get this louder for them.
And two of the other points is self-autonomy and resiliency, is you can grow your own medicine. And herbal medicine really is about increasing vitality, increasing quality of life. And it does this with getting to the root of illness. So getting into holistic language of herbalism, just wanted to preface it with that it's an art and a science to choose the appropriate herbal ally for yourself. So I'm hopefully demystifying herbalism for you. At the end, we'll get to how I formulated and how I chose the herbs that I use in my products. But some of the examples of how an herbalist practices their science and their art is full clinical intakes. So it's getting someone's whole health history on a timeline and really asking the quality or the energetics of their ailment, their symptoms. So that, there's an art to listening. There's an art to taking a blood pressure, but there is a science on measuring it. Even growing the herbs, you can consider yourself an herbalist growing herbs, and there's an art to designing the space, and then there's a science to the best practices for harvesting and processing. So, yeah. Herbs heal, first and foremost, by knowing yourself. Denise, awesome. And an herbalist can help you figure out your own personal energetics, but there's also herbs to help you tune into your heart, to be more mindful. You're not gonna know what to fix if you can't identify it. Living in alignment with nature means going to bed when the sun goes down, not eating in front of the TV, really simple stuff. This is a holistic look to health, people. Herbs do not fix sleep deprivation. They can't. Sleep does that. They can help you get to sleep. And then, yeah, herbs encourage the body's innate ability to heal, meaning your body, some herbalists think that symptoms are a sign of the body trying to heal itself. And herbs have so many phytonutrients and antioxidants and flavonoids that they really give your body that energy it needs to go back to functioning well. So how do herbs heal more specifically? The correct assessment, so knowing yourself, tracking symptoms, tracking. And you can also do this with, I'm gonna go over a 4-tissue state. Stephen Thorne helped write up the 6-tissue state. And this is a Western herbalism personal energetics model, and it's not really meant to see. And the knowledge of the plants. So how do you wanna learn about a plant? Materia medica. It's Greek for just the material of healing. There's a Chinese material medica, and that is a whole different system of herbs. And then that's by Michael Moore, who's no longer with us, but was one of the big revitalists of herbalism in America. So I've been talking about energetics. What are they? They are ways to identify and communicate patterns of imbalance to find holism. So another word for energetics is predisposition. So you don't have to be ill, but this is just your natural predisposition, dry skin, I'll give more examples. Or constitution. And then I wanted to talk about the history of herbalism, but just a little shout out. Ancient medical systems all over the world. I only have 3 places. In India, 5,000 years ago, there's evidence of them starting to write down medicine herbs, the Chinese medicine, 5,000 years ago. And then Untitled is the where Western herbalism has descended from, and then it's also used in India still, Untitled. Okay, so personal energetics. So in Western herbalism, we call these humoral temperaments, and this is from the 1800s medical literature from physicians of the day. And it's just been updated to make more sense in our modern language. And you can go ahead and hit, I think there's a picture. Here it is. Can I move my face? Okay, there we go. So there is, like I said, a bigger, more comprehensive model, the 6-tissue state, if you want to write that down and look it up. But the 4 main ones are hot, cold, dry, damp. And these are tissue tone, they're tissue metabolic rate as well. So hot is going to mean overactivity. It doesn't necessarily mean you sweat a lot. It more so means, yeah, I mean, you probably wouldn't live in Florida. You had a hot constitution. It means, yeah, you have a high metabolism rate, and so cold would kind of be the opposite. Cold is a little bit sluggish, bowel movements can be sluggish. Damp is going to be congested, so that's swelling, that is, can be constipation as well, dry, yeah, so herbalists talk about bowel movements a lot. I'll try not to. Dry is going to be, you might not have enough fluid to pump around. So it's not only dry skin, but it's also like, you know, something like, so many examples. Yeah, I'll keep it simple, dry skin, maybe dry scalp. And so, yeah, it could be from not enough oils, not enough fluid. And so this actually pairs, oh, and one more thing on this model, thank you, is the hot and damp can be more in combination in a person, more commonly, and then the dry and cold is a more common profile picture to be combined in a person. But you can have things that don't seem like they go together. Trust me, you can have cold digestion and then hot nervous system. Your body can be out of whack easy with today's modern world. So then when you're looking for plants, it lines up pretty well. You know, your plants can be warming, they can be cooling, and I have some pictures. So we all, you know, what do you think cayenne pepper is? You think warming, and some nice peppermint. Maybe not off the top of your head, but yeah, it's generally considered cooling, especially peppermint. And yeah, and they can also be layered. So with herbs, they're not always combined into that warming, moistening, drying, cooling. They are, yeah, they're based on taste, and cooling would not be energizing. Sorry to that question. But they can be layered on top of each other is what I'm trying to get at. So heat can cause dryness. It can heat up the moisture in your body, or the herb can heat up the moisture and lead to dryness. So this is our layering herbs on top of each other, why we come up with a formulation, an energetically balanced formula. Okay. So yeah, energetics is part 1 of the language of herbalism. Next, let's dive in to get to know herbs better. So my favorite way is through the 5 senses. This is called organoleptics, just a big word for using your senses. One more. So yeah, this helps you get out of just studying herbs through the printed word, through other people's experiences. What it really does is it helps you remember the experience with the herb. You can note the color of the herb when it changes, when you dry the herb, when you make tincture, tea, certain herbs with colors, like the blue butterfly pea. Blue is like a special anthocyanin. So it just, you know, has that little phytonutrient for you. Hearing, or the taste is like the main thing to know about herbs, and it also goes very well with the energetics. descriptions. This is also the language. We taste it to have a better language to talk about the herb and then to infer what it might do in our bodies. So the smell is its aromatic quality. This is aromatherapy. If a plant smells, it's going to have a little bit of volatile essential oil. So I don't do essential oils, but whenever you make tea, you get aromatherapy. The essential oils are in that tea. And then some of my products with more aromatic plants, with richer essential oil content. Even the tinctures has some aromatherapy. Okay. So we'll get back into how herbs feel and how to learn them, but just some really important things when you're looking up an herb and you're wondering, how will this interact with me? The degree of the herb and then the site. So first we'll go to the degree of herbal action. And this basically is just a fancy way of saying, culinary herbs, like your rosemary, your mints are the first degree, are the safest. And that's where you want to stay into your safe bubble. Something like the picture, chamomile, is more so in your second degree. I just searched it up. How strong or how much chamomile tea can I drink? And it says it might actually make you vomit. So I'm like, okay. I thought it was something I could drink so much of, but there is some one-siding that it's not, you can't have too much. So I put it in the second category. And then something in the fourth degree is going to be like poke root or pokeberry. I don't know if y'all know that weed around here. Yeah, and then some other, so those are more low dose botanicals, and you really wouldn't want to be interacting with those plants unless you're with a trained herbalist or trained yourself. And yeah, you want to know somebody's education because again, we're not licensed. Certification, can mean anything. And that's how we like it. That's how herbalists like it. We like everyone to practice in their different ways, and then the clients come to whoever they resonate with. But let's get back to site of action. Oh, we skipped. Oh, did I not put site? Oh. Okay, well, action of this goes with it. Action of herbs can kind of tell about the site. So site, what I mean is most herbs have a affinity to a specific organ. So alternative herbs, this is a bunch of actions, and I'll explain them a little bit more when I get into the formulation process. But alternative basically means it's a whole class of herbs, really great for chronic ailments. They're slow to work. So my two alternative products are the flower tea with the chamomile, red clover is a big alternative, burdock. It helps you absorb more nutrients and eliminate more waste. Broadly speaking, you could study alternatives for a while and there's still a lot of nuance with them. They mostly work on your lymph fluid and your liver. So alternatives are really great. Tropho restoratives, we're rebuilding some tissue there. Nervines, you can have nervines that put you to sleep. So nervines just mean calming, or you can have non-sedating nervines that are just calming. Carminatives is a word that also kind of means warming. So carminatives are in your bitters formula, and they bring blood flow into your digestive tissues. That's, these herbs that are also carminatives usually also have an affinity to your digestive organs. So bitters usually have an affinity for your liver. And this is what I mean of site of action, like where do the herbs take action? So cholagogue means that the herb will make your liver produce more bile, which is really cool. And then I'll just hit two more on the other side. Adaptogen is funny. Different herbalists, they'll put, does anyone know what an ashwagandha is? Yeah. That's like a classic adaptogen, and that's one that I will classify as an adaptogen, but then we're also putting ginseng in that same category, something that's so nourishing and relatively safe for everyone, and then ginseng, which is not only takes 7 years, 11 years to grow, it also, makes you, it's like too many cups of coffee. It's like, that's not good for everyone. We don't want people to burn themselves out. So adaptogen can be, just know what kind of herbalist you're talking to, I guess, or know, what are the safe adaptogens? And I have Tulsi basil, which is my favorite adaptogen, and still growing the ashwagandha. But then I also wanted to hit on the action emetic, E-M-E-T-I, and that just means to upchuck. There's actually a herbal classification, and this is in response to the heroic medicine of the 1700s, of the 1800s, where people are trying to get you to release the toxins. Those emetic herbs, lobelia specifically, were highly praised in those times when we're trying to figure out what is medicine. So those, lots of herbal actions, and we'll keep talking about that. So now we'll get to practice, kind of, some herbalism. I'll take you through my thought process. For synergistic formulation. So and then hold right there. So what I mean, synergistic formula means like it's energetically balanced. And I recommend you maybe start formulating after you've experienced the individual herbs first in different forms. So make a tea out of it, maybe try a tincture, and then, So dandelion, let's hit those ingredients. It's all recorded and posted on their YouTube channel as well, the Garden Club. Please come back to it. I'm going through a lot of intense topics really quick. I'm a diabetic. Do you have some kind of remedy, or do you have something for diabetics and neuropathy? I will take, more specific questions maybe at the table, maybe afterwards. So when we don't know when we aren't sure where we should start with herbal medicine, what herbs we should choose, the two main body systems that are really important for just general health are your digestion and your stress, your nervous system and your food processing system. So the tendency with digestion, if it's starting to go awry, is for it to be cold, sluggish, so energetically speaking. So sluggish kind of describes bloating. Sluggish describes the bowel movements, and being full, not digesting quick, but it can also mean digesting too quick, and then you might think of stress. But in order to digest, living in alignment with nature, some Ayurvedic principles, which is the Indian holistic medical system, Ayurveda, is eating in a relaxed state. So I'll get to my stress product next, but the affinities for these bitter herbs and alternative herbs, and I'm jumping ahead telling you some actions that'll pop up later, but they target the liver and the gallbladder. Dandelion's really great for your kidneys, and it's so mineral rich, which you can see in the flavor being minerally of the tincture, that even though you might be peeing out some minerals, it's supplying your body with a refill. And then when you taste it, some of those tastes clue you into some of the actions. So you can taste the ginger. Ginger is great for circulation. So it helps take the herbal medicine to all your blood vessels, which is really cool. Ginger helps the medicine travel through the body. And then blessed thistle, leaf and flower, that's what those abbreviations are. Amazing bitter. So we just have in this product of 7 herbs, we have a few that are warming. Like I said, we want Digestion, sometimes a colder, digestion going awry is a colder issue. So we have some warming, and then we also have some moistening and drying, because we want to provide the tissues with enough fluid to process all the food, and then we also want to keep them from staying on, sluggish, the sluggish. So drying helps with sluggishness of the body. I hope I'm making sense. Some of the actions are carminative, like I was saying, which increases blood flow to the gut. The aromatic properties of a plant, the essential volatile oils, they're great for your nervous system and your digestive system. And I kind of went over the diuretic, which can also help high blood pressure. The ginger, circulatory stimulant. Got a couple more. The cholagog. Blessed thistle and dandelion are going to be the helping more bile to be produced, and we need bile to digest fat. That's what it does. It has a very big role in the body. And then, bitter. A lot of times people ask me, how do I take the tinctures? Well, dropping them right on top of your tongue hits those bitter taste receptors on your tongue. Those bitter taste receptors signal a downstream release of pancreatic lipase, small intestine juices to help you absorb. You're not absorbing all the nutrients right in your stomach. Your small intestine does a huge work of digesting your food as well. So those bitter taste receptors help signal lower downstream effects. And then secondary action, I always joke that herbs are broadly anti-inflammatory. I think disease is broadly inflammatory and herbs are broadly anti-inflammatory. So everything has a secondary action of anti-inflammatory. I don't think I made it on here, but just so you know. Okay, my favorite, Lionheart Elixir, named after motherwort, the last ingredient. It's so bitter, that's why it's the last ingredient. Motherwort in Latin is Leonaris cardiaca, so that's why it's Lionheart. And just some energetics. I'm more of a science, fascinated in science. It comes easier to research for me. And that's why I decided to grow the plants to get a more personal relationship with them. And motherwort, they say, is a mothering spirit. It's for people who need a mothering spirit. I say it's non-sedative, but if I need a nap, it'll help me get to sleep and get a nap. If it just needs me to not have car rage, that's what it does for me. It also helps menstrual cycles and female hormones in general, specifically motherwort. This product was made for the stress and digestion, those two huge systems that go on awry. They cause so many chronic symptoms down the line. Some of the flavors you'll notice in this product are the sweet of the Tulsi basil and the milky and nutritive flavor of the milky oats. And then the motherwort is a little bit covered up with the honey. Got to add some sugar to your medicine to make it digestible, to make it enjoyable. But overall, the energetics are generally cooling, nutritive, nourishing, pretty neutral energetics on this product, because I'm not trying to speed up the nervous system or slow down the nervous system, speeding up warming, slowing down cooling. I'm not trying to do either of those. I'm just trying to provide it more nutrition. I talked a little bit about adaptogens. I think Tulsi and ashwagandha in my book are like the two adaptogens, because they don't give you too much energy where you continually burn yourself out. That's the reason for me. Tropho restorative, super cool. Milky oats has actually been shown in research to recoat the physical nerves, the exterior of your physical nerves. So I've seen people, gravitate towards it post-stroke or circulation issues or just feeling frazzled and like nothing else. It's helping. It's, you might have to get down to that cellular level of your nerves. And also the Lionheart product, I think, works better, not instantaneously, but building up in your system And so that goes to the effect of milky oats, slowly regenerating your nerves, not instantly. Yeah, anxiolytic is a cool word. Cardiotonic, motherwort, tulsi have been shown to help heart tissue specifically. Antispasmodic, emmenagogue, meaning promotes your menstrual cycle if you have a delayed menstrual cycle. Yeah, endocrine restorative, that kind of is adaptogen as well. Thank you. Okay, and then the last product review is a tea, my Breathe Deep tea. And I had to have a tea just for mullein. I really like the plant mullein. It's fuzzy, and my face is covering it on the video. There it is. It's a common roadside weed up north. We don't get it too much here. Of course, I grow it in an organic pasture, so it's not a roadside. I don't harvest roadside plants. But yeah, this tea is targeted for your lymph system and your lungs specifically. It works on so much more than that. It's a bold, spicy flavor, and that pungent kind of means like bold, spicy, and that means warming, moving, helps with stagnation. And then, yep, so those are some of the energetics as well. So actions, I wanted to highlight this tea because I just wanted to talk about expectorants. Expectorants is a very cool herbal action, and that just means making you cough. But as an herbalist, we don't just want an herb for a cough, right? We want to know, is that cough wet? Is it productive? Is it dry? So mullein is one of the few moistening expectorants. So it's actually moistening and helping you get that phlegm, that cough up. So it'd be good on the irritated, dry coughs. But it's not too demulcent, that word underneath expectorant. Which means moistening. Demulcent means moistening. It's not too moistening that it bogs up your lungs and tissues and it feels like you're breathing water. This whole blend is to get things moving, to get things, get your nervous system calm down, provide you with some really anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial herbs, and also just have this specific focus on your lungs. So yeah, I have some resources. So I did want to just sprinkle in a little bit of my training. I saw someone in the chat asked. I studied with Thomas Easley, one of the authors of the Modern Herbal Dispensary. This book talks about personal energetics, the 6-tissue state that I mentioned, and then also in the very back talks about herbs individually, very thorough individual herbal profile. But if you're looking for a more detailed herbal profile, one of the oldest, most known, recognized is what's Mauve Grieve. I think her first name's Mauve, Miss M. Grieve. I think it's Mauve Grieve. And the stories, I was looking at her dandelion story to talk about my bitters, and just the way dandelion, the name, the common English name, is said to come from the French. It's pronounced dent, or it's spelled dent, and it's pronounced dandelion, and that's tooth of the lion. And it's, Maud Grieve argues, is the serrated edge of a dandelion leaf, is that really why dandelion got its name, the serrated edge of the leaf? Does it really look like the tooth of a lion? Or she just has different stories. It's really cute. And also, women herbalists are less written about historically than men. So I like to plug her. And then anyone, the Jill Stansberry book, it's for professionals. It's for more practicing herbalists and medical professionals. But yeah, once you get a good base, Jill Stansberry is an awesome one to look up next. And then, yeah, thank you guys for coming. I encourage you to come visit the farm. Next slide. Yeah, the Modern Urban Dispensary is on Amazon. Encourage you to visit the farm. I have tea tastings out at the farm. I'm planning, right now, nothing too great is growing. I like to say summer is like the off season. But really big on Instagram and Facebook. It's great for you to communicate with me there. Also, my email is just clinicalnutritions@gmail.com, and it'll be posted on the next slide. Yeah, I do tea tastings. I'm going to plan some harvest events. So I'll tell you what medicinal herbs I have, and then you sign up if you want to come harvest them, make your own medicine or tea. Yeah, and I have fresh, potent, natural remedies in the back. I'm also at the Riverside Arts Market twice in August, and then maybe more consistent in the fall, but I'll be there August 6th and August 27th, I believe, at RAM, if you want to come talk more about herbs then. And then, yeah, I got holistic health consults. I do that farmer market side, if we can kind of get to the root problem, if you've been studying a lot, and it can just be a quick conversation, or full intakes that are not a quick conversation, because I don't miss details. So thank you guys for listening, getting to know herbalism. I hope you feel a little bit more confident. And yeah.
So yeah, so let's get some questions. So if you have questions, if you could go to the mic, we'd love to capture them there. And then if you're on Zoom and you have questions, I know there are a couple that have come through, and I will get those as well.
It was hard not to answer them as I saw them popping up.
So let's see. We had a question about anything for pancreas. Someone who was just diagnosed with pancreatic deficiency.
Pancreas is, yeah, I mean, bitters are real. Pancreas is one of the digestive organs. And yeah, it's really important. The bitters blend does help it. That's the beauty of herbal medicine, and the difficulty in answering a question like this is that herbs have a very broad effect, and something like a pancreatic deficiency would maybe be a cold state, a stagnant state. So there's a lot more questions that come with that. I'm gonna answer where's my farm located? It's in the Dinsmore community. I rent a 1/4 acre from a woman homesteader. There's 4 farmers there. Her farm's called Juicy Roots, and it's in the Dinsmore community up near Congaree and Penn, so northwest. I do, and I have a few products if I have a crop failure of farmers. I know farmers around the United States that are doing the same thing I am.
We also have a question, what base do you use for your tinctures?
Yeah. So the tinctures, I use cane alcohol. I use 95% cane alcohol. Yeah, and fresh plants, fresh whole plants. So the reason I use such a high percentage alcohol is because plants have a 30 to 40% water content. So what I'm doing with the alcohol is I'm absorbing all that water and I'm pressing it out either through like a potato masher or like a muslin cloth, a cheesecloth. So yeah, to get that water extracted out so the alcohol percentage does lower in the medicine making process.
What are the advantages of taking tincture?
If you would mind, you could repeat the question.
I'll answer the first part of the question. I think you have a second part. Tinctures versus capsules. Tinctures sometimes, if you have a second part, yeah. Tinctures are usually a fresh extract, and that's just what you want to see. Usually they have that description wherever you buy your herbs from, fresh extract. So I believe you're getting a little bit more of the plant essence with a fresh tincture, but capsules, some plants, they don't absorb well in alcohol. So that's one thing to know. I don't have calendula in any of my tinctures because it's resinous and it absorbs better in water. So I have it in a tea for water extraction, and I have it in my skin salve as an oil extraction, because that's how you best pull out calendula medicine.
So I have a follow-up. Okay, so I support all of them, and I'm very curious about the health benefits once we want to broaden that also integrated into your business or into your work, I suppose. But what can I do to tell the people that it has healing benefits, and it really does, but I'm not a scientist. Is there anything that you can maybe teach me about that?
Potentially. Off the top of my head, I know olive is good heart medicine. So yeah, I mean, you would approach that from a nutrition standpoint, right? And yeah, the energetics. So I'm not sure if it's heart opening or blood pressure. I'm not sure the exact specifics of olive medicine, but yeah, it's normal. Yeah, you would just find someone who's written about it and see what resonates with you. There's lots of good herbalists I can refer you to. I think there's a hand in the back.
I have a question. I'm a diabetic, and I was wondering what kind of herb do you recommend? And do you have a way, like a remedy that would help with the diabetic neuropathy? You have like a pain in the feet?
Yeah, specific conditions. I don't approach just an herb for a problem. So, and then with diabetes especially, I love recommending more fruits. Yeah, you wouldn't think about it. Diabetes as a pathophysiology standpoint, yeah, you're not seeing the insulin's still bouncing around your body. You're not absorbing it into your muscle tissue. That transporter's not functioning as well to transport the insulin into your muscle tissue. So berries, the antioxidants in berries really help that, that blood, you know, all what's missing, all what's gone wrong. And I really like approaching it from a food standpoint. So I'm sure you've heard fiber, but berries and fruit are great. They got the prebiotics because they're fiber rich. Prebiotics, which are, I think, better than probiotics. You're feeding your gut bacteria. And then diabetes, I also focus on gut dysbiosis with that as well. So those are more of like the root things that I would focus on, and maybe, hopefully, maybe a salve for the neuropathy, meaning the trouble feeling in your feet. They go numb. Maybe like a salve with cayenne in it or something, like to really warm up the skin and the nerve endings down in your feet, and maybe that'll do something. So a multi-prong approach, using herbs, using food as medicine. Yeah, in a bunch of different ways.
Blueberries?
Yeah, anything with color. I think, it's bilberries that actually have blue all the way through. If you look at a blueberry, only the skin, a very small layer, has that blue tinge, and then the inside's white. And then bilberries actually are blue all the way through. So I would think, yeah, the raspberries maybe, or the blackberries that are more of that color all the way through, they're higher in antioxidant content.
I just wanted to know what are some of the herbs that you commonly have on farms? I was going to grow fig tree on their farm.
Okay, so the question was, what are common herbs for Jacksonville, for Northeast Florida, around the farm? And you said you do like fig trees, or you don't like fig trees?
Fig trees are supposed to be only fruit, but so I'm not thinking to have a fig tree out on the road. But I do want to know what you have, because that's what I'm out there.
Right. And yeah, you need so much mass. And it dries down or into a little bit of plant. So she was saying, I think, yeah, just wants to get a verbal tour of the farm. Seasonally, it's different things. The winter is my favorite time of year. I can grow my chamomile, my calendula, my red clover, my milky oats. Yeah, and then June, some nice things like Monarda, also known as bee balm, is blooming. There's a couple different kinds of bee balms at my farm. There's 3 kinds of bee balm. So yeah, some have a limonene phytonutrient, which is more antiviral and more calming and yeah. So basically, yeah, anything in the product line is at the farm. Right now is just ashwagandha, which is going to take a while, Roselle, Tulsi, basil. Tulsi is known as the mother of all herbs, which is really cool. Tulsi, basil, holy basil, just some warm stuff, the blue butterfly pea. But yeah, I'm looking for a orange tree, as far as tree medicine goes, maybe a mulberry, because again, that like full color of the berry. Yeah, orange tree, simple food stuff. Yeah, so hibiscus was the question, and hibiscus is in the Malvaceae family, the mallows, and so once you get to know a plant's affinity and its general actions, you can, maybe know the whole family that it's in and kind of attribute some of those characteristics broadly across the family. Like rose family is another good. They're mostly astringent. So the Malva family, which a hibiscus is in, generally demulcent or moistening. So that's why it's great for the summer, because we're getting hot, maybe dry, maybe irritated, and that Roselle hibiscus is a form of hibiscus, and then some other hibiscus, some are just ornamental. And then there's a couple other ones that provide, that cooling. We didn't get into sour taste, but sour taste is another great summer medicine because that is a little bit cooling and also really helps with the irritation. Sour, yeah.